welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real. I'm Marla Sparker, and today with me is our Fire Chief in Nevada, Ray Reynolds. Ray, how many years have you been in Nevada as Fire Chief?
I'm going on my 9th year here. Started in 2014.
Okay, so you've been around long enough to know the community a bit. Now, Ray has a few different things he wants to tell us about. And I wanted to start out, let's talk about the makeup of the fire department today and what you have going on with members and all of that.
Yeah, so the fire department's really changed quite a bit. In 2014, we had 25 members. We were down as low as 19 members. We're currently sitting at 48 members. They're all volunteer except for myself. We have 19 of those are females, so we have a 34% ratio of diversity, which you're going to find is probably the highest in, I would guess, the country. Most likely, the average is 6.2% for female firefighters, but we do things a little differently because we have support operations, we have fire suppression, and we also have medical.
Okay, so those are different areas within the department itself.
Yeah, so most people think of suppression as firefighters putting fire out. And then our EMS component is made up of paramedics. We have one nurse, RN, that's an exempt, so she can operate as a paramedic. We have an advanced EMT, which is just a step below paramedic. And then the department, between both departments, police and fire and public safety, we have 25 EMTs. So we have quite a collection of EMT folks, but honestly, that's about 85% of our business is medical calls. And then support operations are the folks that show up at a fire scene and they provide decontamination to firefighters when they come out of a fire. They rehydrate them. That's a really unique thing that not a lot of fire departments have. But the national average is showing us that firefighters die more often of cardiac arrest at a fire ground. And so because they're not properly hydrated and cooled down, and if you're at risk of a heart attack, we give baby aspirin. And so it's a very progressive move for a fire service. But I've always said, only one person can hold the nozzle at a time. So what do you do with all the rest of the people? And it takes a lot of people to manage a fire scene.
Yeah. So you're not only taking care of the fire, you're actually taking care of the people who fight the fire.
Yeah, I think that's really critical that we think differently in Nevada. And as I will tell you, the depth and breadth of the conversations we have at our fire department are something that you don't hear at other fire departments. It's definitely a camaraderie and a family environment.
Good. Last night I was at the council meeting listening in, and you talked about something very special that happened recently in terms of saving a life, and that's been on people's minds lately, especially cardiac arrest. Tell us what happened and how we were positioned to be able to help that person.
Yeah, I think most people know Damar Hamlin from the NFL at the cardiac arrest. Since that episode, fire departments throughout the country are being inundated with folks that say, teach me CPR, I want to know how to use an AED. Where's my closest AED? And so we've really taken that challenge, helped our Main Street folks in teaching business owners CPR. We have 4 CPR instructors on our department, and they teach a variety of folks. And kudos to the school who requires CPR certification for our high school seniors to graduate. So you never know when you're going to come into a critical event like that. As it turns out, we were at the fire station during the ice storm because I thought it's going to be really bad.
Recent ice storm that we had.
Yeah, we had, that was on Wednesday night. We had a 1/4 inch of ice, and as a fire chief, you're always wondering who's in town with the volunteer department. And so I decided that I was going to cook for the troops and said, you know what, we're going to have like fire food, which is hash browns, eggs, and sausage sandwiches, because that's what we do. And we had 15 folks that just came up and just kind of hang out at the station. We really talk about that home environment. And so as we were there, we were called to a person who was unresponsive, and it turns out it was a cardiac arrest. The ambulance in town was on another call, so our closest ambulance is coming from Ames. And so I give them credit. Their response time was 17 minutes in the ice storm, considering that Lincoln Highway is closed. But this gentleman did not have 17 minutes to spare. Our department was there in 4 minutes. We had 4 paramedic providers, 3 EMT providers, a firefighter, and a police officer there. And we were able to do a full round of what we call advanced cardiac support, including defibrillation, advanced airway placement, cardiac drug placement or administration. And we were able to convert that person back to a sustainable heartbeat. And so that person is alive and well. The family, we know them well. They're very appreciative. And it's sometimes we're just lucky. But we had the right folks on at the right time. And, you know, as much as people talk about CPR and cardiac arrest, the dismal truth is that only about 8% of the folks make it out of their house. And so, so when you do have a success like that, it certainly is really rewarding. But we couldn't ask for a better crew, a better setup, and the folks at Mary Greeley were definitely complimentary of what had happened. And so to be able to take a person who by all rights is dead and convert their heart into a sustainable heart rhythm is pretty interesting in a 10-minute time window. And so I really credit the crew that showed up. There were just a ton of folks on that call.
Great, that's good news. You have some special projects coming up. I know a big fundraiser is going on with the fire department. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we got a lot going on. We always do, it seems like, but I firmly believe that the fire department is the central focus of a community, and our building happens to sit in the center part of the town. The first big news is we're replacing a 26-year-old fire engine with a new truck that'll be here in 2 years. So it takes 2 years to build the fire truck.
That sounds like a long time. What causes that much time?
Well, it's interesting when you start looking at a fire truck in 2020 and the price tag on that was $481,000. That same truck now is $710,000. So we have seen fire trucks go up $50,000 every 6 months. And so we talked to our city leadership and said, look, by the time we actually do something here, it'll be a $900,000 truck. So we cannot continue to throw money like that away. And pretty soon we were going to price ourselves out of an engine. It's important we have 2 engines in a ladder truck for our ISO rating for our community.
Explain that ISO rating again.
Yeah, so the Insurance Service Organization, the ISO rating, they rate your community on fire protection. And so it's based off of your water supply. It's based off of your dispatch capabilities, the sheriff's office. And then 50% of it is based off of your fire department, the type of apparatus they have, the age of the apparatus, the equipment that you have, if you're meeting NFPA standards, if you do community risk reduction, if you have a training facility, all of these things go into place. So when we did a review, I think it was probably 4 years ago or so, we went from an ISO 5 down to an ISO 3, which is good. You want to be low. It's a 1 through 10 rating, and currently, for instance, at the time we did it, Altoona and Grinnell were actually a 4 rating, and we were a 3, and they had full-time staffing.
Wow.
And so the only way we could get to a 2 is to have staffing, and so that brings up a whole nother discussion about call volumes and stuff like that. But
the biggest benefit to people who live and work here or own businesses here is that this keeps their insurance rates lower.
Yeah,
correct?
that's a benefit to them. Now, the benefit to my firefighters is that they have a lot more water. So taking engine with 750 gallons of water to a fire that doesn't have hydrants like in the county or in the rural, we can drain that tank in less than 3 minutes. And it's very bad optics to be a fire department at a fire ground and run out of water. So this will be a 1,500 gallon vehicle that will be used first out city and rural. And I think having a 6-person cab like we do with all of our apparatus really sets the stage of a good fire ground. We're also incorporating some ultra high pressure, quick attack stuff that we've got to kind of get more legs under us on that, because there's a few of us that really know how to use it effectively. And so that'll really kind of help. I don't anticipate that we'll have to buy a big fire apparatus, certainly in my lifetime here. And so that really sets the community up well.
After this purchase.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other project that you are going to be undertaking is kind of exciting on the side of the building.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in public art. I think people of all social and economic classes have the ability to see art free, and we wanted to contribute to that. Our community has got quite a history. Our fire department goes back to 1860, and I can tell you about the horses that got distemper in 1907, and the farmers had to come in and pull our ladder carts. And so we have a rich connection to the rural folk, and it's really important that we honor that tradition. So the mural we came up is called Transition Through Time. So we have pictures of us in, not me, our fire department in like 1900s with the steamers, as we transitioned into 1960s with the 54 Seagrave, one of the first vehicles the city purchased, and then our current apparatus. So from the fire side, it shows the development and progression of the fire service. But in the background, we like that part because it's got Lincoln Highway markers, Jefferson Highway, Union Pacific Railroad. It's got our agricultural row crops, windmills, the Henry Farm, the Tipton Building, and a couple of other buildings in our community. The artist on this is Allie Havel. She's a University of Iowa art professor and muralist, and she has done amazing work throughout the country. And so I messaged her and asked her to come to Nevaeh because I wanted to put art on our buildings. And I think the downtown group is doing something similar. They're not quite there yet. And so for us, it's like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And
when will we see this happen?
I think it'll come on in May. We're about $2,000 away from the total price tag on this.
Okay.
And the total artwork and everything is right at $10,000. And it's going to be, a lot of it is the paint itself. This is a special paint ordered out of California that's sun resistant. And so this mural will last on our building about 20 years.
And this will be right on that east side that everybody drives by along 10th Street.
Yeah, we've had, Allie's looked at the building. She said this is a great building for this, and it's going to be the centerpiece. And I think we got some other plans that we're looking at potentially creating like a little sitting park area there. So, because right now it's grass and we've got some parking over there, but I don't see us expanding the fire department to the east. I don't think we have enough room. So
this might be really fun for people when the weather gets warmer to walk by and keep an eye on it as it's happening.
You know, she says she can do this in a week. So that's impressive, and it'll be a full color mural. And you know, if you're not talking about your community, if you're not showing off your community, you're doing something wrong. So the fire department is integral in this, and we're really excited. Great.
Is there anything else you want to touch base on while we are sitting here and talking with the community?
Yeah, I think for the fire department, probably our biggest challenge is that we are busy. We handle 778 calls a year for the last couple of years. We've been in that high 700 number. That's a pretty big ask of volunteers. And so that's why we believe in higher numbers than most volunteers have. But it's definitely a challenge because you don't know what is going to show up on a fire engine. It could be a brand new person or it could be a seasoned person. And our volunteers are very dedicated. I think we pulled some numbers last time, and with training and everything, our volunteers are donating about 150 hours per person. And so certainly there's folks that are doing a lot more than that, but that's kind of the minimum that we're seeing. So we train every night, or every Wednesday night. We have a business meeting, we have EMS meetings, I've got chiefs meetings to attend in the county. So our folks, they're putting a lot of time in. And then to cap that off, we typically get about 167 public requests to do stuff, whether it's CPR class, stop the bleed class, just anything that involves the fire engine and people. So
Bringing Santa to Main Street.
yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of those happen during the day, and so our volunteers have been very good about taking time off from work, and so I'm indebted to the volunteers. It's easy for me to be here Monday through Friday, respond to some calls at night and stuff like that, but really the lion's share of the credit goes to our volunteers who get out of bed at 3 in the morning and help somebody up, and so I think that's something to think about as we progress.
Yeah, great people. We're really lucky to have them in our community, really lucky.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, thanks for spending a little time and explaining some of these things to us, and we will check back with you again sometime this year.
Great.